The 14 peaks are no easy feat. They stand as the tallest mountains on Earth, each soaring beyond 8,000 meters high. You can't just rush to the summit. It's about reaching the top while showing reverence to the mountains and following its rules. Once you're out there, you're at the mercy of nature, and it's the mountains that decide your fate. Ultimately, it's the mountain that prevails. Two American women climbers set out with a strong bond, aiming to conquer the peaks together. But as they climbed, their friendship turned into a competition. They realized only one of them could be the first American woman to climb all 14 peaks. So in their pursuit of fame, they began cutting corners, ignoring the advice of Sherpas. They underestimated the challenge, or perhaps overestimated their abilities. What they failed to grasp was their disrespect for the mountain's power, and they faced the consequences they could not bear. This is the tale of Anna Gutu and Gina Marie Rzucidlo's quest to conquer the 14 peaks. For Anna Gutu and Gina Marie Rzucidlo, their final journey up Shishapangma turned into a tragedy. Gutu and Rzucidlo aimed to make history as the first American women to conquer all 14 peaks on Earth that soar over 8,000 meters. Rzucidlo and Gutu were both amazing climbers, but they came from different backgrounds. Rzucidlo, a 45-year-old from Auburn, Massachusetts, had been climbing for years. Her dream of conquering all 14 8,000ers was a long-term plan. She had climbed Everest in 2018 and K2 in 2022, then tackled Lhotse, Cho-Oyu, and Nanga Parbat in 2023. Described as upbeat and funny, her laughter could light up a room. Gutu, on the other hand, was quite different from Rzucidlo. A skilled climber and athlete, the 31-year-old lacked experience in the Himalayas. So, she teamed up with some of the most renowned climbers of our time, Elite Exped. This group, led by Nims Dai, Mingma David, and Mingma Tenzin Sherpa, holds numerous Guinness World Records for Himalayan climbs. Elite Exped specializes in guiding experiences on the toughest mountains, aiming to inspire others to explore these challenging terrains. Nims Dai, Mingma David, and Mingma Tenzin Sherpa were part of the first team to conquer K2 in the deadly winter of January 2021. They were exactly what Anna Gutu needed, a partnership to support her lack of experience with determination and strong climbing skills. Gutu and Rzucidlo found themselves in a tough competition, both aiming to be the first American women to conquer all 14 of the world's tallest mountains. They had already climbed 13 out of the 14 towering peaks, leaving only the challenging Shishapangma unconquered. Shishapangma stands as the 14th highest mountain globally, reaching a staggering 8,027 meters. It commands respect from even the most skilled climbers. Its name, which means the crest above the grassland in Tibetan, perfectly describes its imposing presence amidst the vast Tibetan plateau. Shishapangma is famous for its grand ice and snow formations, such as massive glaciers and ice falls. It's also known for its sharp ridges and steep faces, common features of high Himalayan peaks. The allure of Shishapangma is not just its towering summit, but also the feeling of achievement that comes with conquering its daunting slopes. Over time, it has become a sought-after destination for mountaineers looking to climb all 14 of the world's tallest peaks. Anna Gutu and Gina Marie Rzucidlo's rivalry to climb Shishapangma began on another massive mountain, Cho-Oyu. Both climbers reached the summit in late September, with Rzucidlo reaching it on October 1st and Gutu following just a day later on October 2nd. Gutu shared a video on her Instagram, which had over 38,000 followers, capturing the moment of celebration on reaching the summit. This video sparked a feud between them. Before this, their competition was strong but not hostile. However, after Shishapangma, the conflict escalated. Rzucidlo dubbed Gutu the Instagram climber due to her perceived lack of experience in the Himalayas until 2023. After returning to Cho-Oyu's base camp, Rzucidlo left immediately while Gutu faced delays from local authorities and issues with their yaks. Though there's no solid evidence, some team members suspected Rzucidlo might have influenced the officers to slow down the second team to delay Gutu's transfer to Shishapangma. To ensure Gutu made it in time, they had to leave behind their duffel bags of gear and supplies, taking only what was necessary to climb the peak. While Rzucidlo was heading to Shishapangma, she stopped in Tingri to hire a faster Sherpa than the ones provided by her current outfitter. She managed to enlist Tenzin Sherpa, who had guided Christine Harila to summit all 8,000ers in just over 3 months. Gina Marie and Anna Gutu aimed to conquer Shishapangma, marking the end of their summit journey. Shishapangma, though considered one of the easier 8,000-meter peaks to ascend, still posed its challenges. The journey began with a drive to the base camp, followed by a climb to Camp 1 at 6,400 meters. From there, they faced a steep 40 to 45 degree slope to reach Camp 2, and then a gentler 10 to 15 degree incline to Camp 3 at 7,100 meters. This marked the start of the real climb to the peak. Typically, climbers set out from Camp 3 between 11 p.m. and midnight, ascending a steep 45 degree slope towards the summit, with the constant threat of avalanches looming. Combined team of elite exped and Imagine Nepal arrived at Shishapangma's base camp on October 6th and wasted no time getting started. They swiftly progressed to Camp 1, aiming for October 7th as their summit day. Both Gina and Anna opted to use oxygen at Camp 1, a practice uncommon at such low altitudes, especially on such high peaks. However, their decision was understandable as they sought every possible advantage in their race to the top. Unlike many recent teams, Gina and Anna chose not to take the classic route along the lengthy and precarious summit ridge to reach the true summit. This route involved a 2-hour climb along a narrow, exposed ridge where a single misstep could result in a fatal fall hundreds of feet down the mountainside. Anna's team surged ahead of their teammates, veering off from Camp 2 towards a point along the ridge. Meanwhile, Rzucidlo's group trailed slightly below, following a different path but making swift progress. There were no fixed ropes, yet Tenzin Lama led the way with 2 axes, short roping Rzucidlo. Short rope essentially means that the Sherpa ahead puts a rope on the waist of the climber behind them, and if the climber is weak or going slow, they literally tug on the rope. This way, Anna and Tenzin climbed with impressive speed, passing numerous groups on the slopes. Gutu ascended the peak in a diagonal direction, aiming directly for the summit. On the other hand, Rzucidlo opted for a line traversing from left to right across a gentle slope. Many climbers followed Rzucidlo's route, as Gutu's path didn't lead to the true summit. Eventually, Gutu realized her mistake, pausing around 7,700 meters for an hour before continuing up the slope. Suddenly, without warning, devastating avalanches descended upon the climbing parties. Nimsdai shouted to the group below as the avalanche approached. Climbers above Camp 3 heard the thundering of powder snow cascading down the peak, seeking refuge behind large seracs. Radios crackled with frantic chatter, and soon the alarming news spread that Gutu and her Sherpa were directly in the path of the avalanche. On that day, Naila Kiani, a Pakistani climber, was on the mountain. Her tracker stopped showing any movement for more than an hour, prompting her to begin descending. This led her to think that other climbers might have also halted their ascent after witnessing or hearing avalanches above them. Promptly, a rescue team was sent out in a desperate bid to reach the climbers who were trapped. Mingma Ji from Imagine Nepal Treks, a guiding company, organized this rescue mission to assist the stranded group. It is important to note that Tibet does not have helicopter rescue services, so all rescue operations must be carried out on the ground. As reported by the Himalayan Times, a local newspaper, it didn't take long for the rescuers to find Anna and Mingma Sherpa, unfortunately lifeless, buried in the snow. It remains unclear whether Rzucidlo and Tenzin were aware of the avalanches coming down upon Gutu and Mingma Sherpa, as they were using a different radio frequency due to the competition. However, they certainly witnessed and heard the avalanche. Several sources on the mountain claim that the base camp warned Rzucidlo to stop and turn back, but she refused. She was driven by what is known as summit fever, an obsession with reaching the peak that leads climbers to disregard dangers and push through any conditions to achieve their goal. Rzucidlo was just 80 meters away from the summit of Shishapangma when the second avalanche struck. There is limited information on what triggered the second avalanche, but there are suspicions that the climbers themselves might have triggered it by climbing right through the unstable slab and breaking it. Initially reported as missing, unfortunately, the bodies of Gina Marie Rzucidlo and Tenzing Lama Sherpa from Nepal were discovered in the snow. According to witnesses, there were at least 2 avalanches that struck the climbing route when 2 American women climbers and their guides were ascending beyond 7,800 meters. A well-known climber and Sherpa, Mingma Ji, faced a near-death experience while assisting in the rescue efforts. While helping another climber untangle a guideline, he slipped and fell almost 150 meters, attempting to halt his slide twice before finally coming to a stop on a rocky surface. He was found unconscious and not breathing, but the swift actions of another climber who performed CPR on him saved his life. That night, he returned to Camp 2, covered in blood but alive. This incident underscores the extreme peril of the conditions on the peak during that time. Susan Rzucidlo, the mother of Gina Marie, shared that her daughter had spent years preparing for this challenge. She had conquered 5 peaks just this year and 8 others in the past. Climbing Mount Shishapangma was supposed to be her impressive 14th achievement. According to Miss Rzucidlo, Gina was at her strongest and happiest while climbing that mountain. Gina was truly incredible. She embraced life fully and was determined to achieve this goal, Susan expressed. Following the incident, there was controversy in the mountaineering community. Many climbers pointed fingers at summit fever and intense competition as factors for the accident. It was evident there was a race because both climbers chose different routes instead of working together. They seemed focused on outdoing each other in speed. Would the avalanches still have occurred if the teams had collaborated? Perhaps. But if the climbers had moved up the slopes together and heeded Sherpa's advice, their circumstances, the climbing route, and the speed might have been different, possibly leading to a different outcome. Our sympathies go out to all the family members and friends that lost a loved one. If you enjoyed our video recounting the tale of Anna Gutu and Gina Marie Rzucidlo, and if you're interested in more content like this in the future, kindly give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. Stay tuned for more upcoming videos.